Hello everyone. In this video we are going to see JPA specification and JPA Spring Data JPA, and utilizing that we are going to implement advanced search, and in that scenario we are going to see how we can utilize criteria APIs, or we can say JPA specification, to implement advanced search which has multiple search criterias. For example, we have something like this screen where, if you see, we have first name, last name, gender, email, account number, and on the basis of this we need to implement the search. And that has, if we implement it via Spring Data JPA only, then we have to either write the queries manually, or it will be a complex task basically implementing it via Spring Data JPA. So there comes a library which can help us, which is JPA specification, and it is introduced after Spring Data JPA 2.1, and utilizing this we will see how we are going to implement this. So for this demo purpose, I have created an endpoint which is demo service, and in which we have implemented an REST API endpoint. So again, from there we have this service class where we have this method which is customer repository.findAll. Now this findAll is not the Spring Data JPA findAll. It is basically a findAll of JPA specification executor. So if you see here, we have different methods which accepts our specification. Specification is nothing but, if I tell you from the Spring Data JPA, it is a concept of writing the queries programmatically, and we are not writing the queries, hard coding them in the code, whereas we are using the libraries and providing them the required data so that it can generate our expected query. So for now, this is what we have to extend our normal Spring Data JPA to enable our customer repository to utilize the JPA specifications. Then here we have created this search specification class, in which we have created our specification related method, and these three things: root, query, criteria builder. So root is the root element from where the query building will start, and then this query is the actual query, and the criteria builder is the where clause, where we are creating all the queries after the where clause. So if you see here, this is where clause which will be getting prepared by this criteria builder, and the query is your complete select till this point, and the root is your root class. So in this case we have this customer root class. So if you see here, I have search criteria, which is basically our request object. Now our request object has to be in certain manner to basically accept and build the queries accordingly. So we have defined search key, search value, and operator. Now if I go back again to the image, if you see search value, then operator, and then the key. Key is nothing but the actual label or actual key on which we have to implement the search. So for example, if you want to have the search on first name, then we will select or fill in the values in the search value, let's say Henry. An operator, maybe we can use like, equals, greater than, less than, whatever. For the name case, like and equals will be sufficient, greater than and less than will not be used, but it can also be implemented for certain kind of like dates, for others use cases. So for now we have operator like and equals for first name, and similarly if user wants to use first name as well as last name, it has to fill in the search value in first name and last name, and then use the operators accordingly in both the places. And similarly, if they want to use all the attributes, they can use search values and then respective operators, and our query will be prepared automatically. We will see that in soon sometime. So let's go back to again our search criteria which I have shown you. Now here if you see, this create specification class is used, and in this if you see root criteria which I have already explained. Now search criteria dot stream which list of search criterias, because our search criteria will look like this. It is going to be a list of, as we are giving the functionality of choosing either one of the search criterias or all of the search criterias or multiple combination of search criteria. It depends upon the user how it wants to use it. So it is going to go inside map criteria, then criteria, and then get operator. So this is operator which we have defined as our, which I have shown you, like equals greater than, we can implement that also. For now we will see how it works. So it will basically return criteria queries required predicates. So we are building a predicate over here. Predicate is just a condition, a where clause, which I have already told you. Now here if you see, this criteria attribute builder class is something which will give you the element on which the user is triggering the search criteria. So if you see here, first name, last name, email, gender. So first name, last name, gender, email. This is the most important part where we have to define the keys in the enum. And in this first name, we are going to use the Hibernate metamodel, JPA metamodels. So for that, we have to use the library, which is this one, Hibernate JPA model gen, which is going to give us all the metamodel classes. So if you see this metamodel classes, it's nothing but mapping of the attribute with the type of the attribute. So it basically removes the mistake we might do while mapping it with the correct column. So that is why it is used, and also it is beneficial in getting the root and the attribute of the classes. So the here if you see customer dot first name, so what it will do is it will go inside the root. Root is the first element or the table which we are going to implement over, and then it is going to fetch the first name element, and that first name element is nothing but your first name defined in the entity class. So this is the entity class, and this is our one of the attributes, and which we are referring in this criteria attribute builder with the first name operator, criteria attribute, or you can say search key. This is basically search key, all the search keys which we have defined in this enum class. So respectively we have defined every other attribute and we are returning it from this class. So once it is returned, search criteria, so get operator, and then we have this build criteria which we have seen over here, criteria builder dot value of search key. It will give you the criteria attribute builder, and from that criteria attribute builder we are just building an expression, and that expression is built by this line. So it will return this, and from there we will use that in our preparation of in our predicate. So in predicate if you see this CB, now after that if you see we have other, all the other possible comparison operators like is not empty, greater than equals to. So we can use all these things and pass in the respective expression. So here we are using like, and then we are passing expression and then search value because we are implementing the like. And similarly we for equals, if you see we are implementing cb dot equal, and here it is review.equal, and we are passing the search value, which is basically the input provided by the user. So this is what it will prepare, and it will at last append that into cb.and predicate, and it will then return the predicate to the specification class, where we are creating the query predicate one by one for all the search criteria. So once this is done, this process is done, it will basically stream and map and evaluate or process every element present in that particular list, and then it will return a list of predicates. Now this list of predicate has to be provided to our criteria builder with an AND condition, because here we are filtering with AND. All the advanced search criteria which we are seeing on the screen is basically an AND condition: first name and last name and gender and email and account number. So hence we are combining them with an AND condition, and it accepts array type of predicates, and hence from list we are converting it to array, and hence this particular specification is prepared. And once it is prepared, we are supplying it to find all, and this is doing the work for us and fetching the required things from the database. So, and once it is done, we are just again streaming over it and using the model mapper to basically map our entity classes into the DTA objects. And this is our response class which we will be returning. If you see the application in the running state, and also I'll show you the query, final query, which will get prepared. So let's go with the simpler use case first. So we'll search with first name A. So if you see here, it is cnum like, and then the Hibernate query which is getting printed is like. Now if you change here, say equal, you see we are getting first name equals to that. Now again go back, send it. So first name is Gar, let's see Gar here, and then let's change this to equals. So we have this response. And similarly we can have another criteria. As I said, it is getting appended with AND condition, so we'll do an AND condition here. Make this like, again make this like, and then here we will say char, and here we'll say just B, and this one is last name. Okay, some issues there. So what we have done mistake, as criteria builder we have last name is fine. Okay, we have a wrong comma. So if you see, we have two elements here with Bullock and B, like search. And if we change this to D, Garnet Dorothy Garik to Masala. So this is what we get. And let's use gender. Instead of last name, let's say gender, and we'll be querying all the females, and we'll make this equals. So if you see female, all these females are now getting listed. So see, we are not at all doing any kind of changes in the code. We have implemented only the specification related things, and we are able to operate over the permutation and combination, each permutation and combination of the search criterias and the operators. So this is how you can implement the advanced search, and you can utilize JPA specifications and criteria APIs to the fullest. For more information, you can ping me, you can reach me out on the social media channels, and thank you for watching. See you in the next video.